Welcome to Terms of Sleep, a sleep podcast by Abrega. Before we begin, we'd like to share a brief disclaimer. The content of this podcast involves the reading of terms of service documents from various companies. This is presented as a transformative and parodic work, created with the purpose of entertainment, commentary, and relaxation. By using these documents in this context, we believe this constitutes fair use under applicable copyright laws. We do not claim ownership of the original material, nor is this podcast affiliated with or endorsed by the companies whose terms of service are read. Enjoy the soothing monotony as we guide you into a restful slumber. Please consider sharing this with your friends. Welcome to Canva. These terms of use terms apply to your use of Canva's visual communication platform, the service. By using the service, you agree that these terms will become a legally binding agreement between you and the Canva contracting entity identified in these terms, Canva. At Canva, we like to make complex things simple. You'll find simple explanations of our terms in these boxes, but keep in mind only the terms outside these boxes are legally binding. 1. Overview A. Using Canva. Canva is a visual communications platform that empowers people to design and collaborate on virtually anything, from logos and greeting cards, to posters and presentations, to t-shirts and websites, each a design. When you use the service, you'll have access to a variety of content provided by Canva and other content providers to use in your designs, licensed content. Your use of the licensed content is subject to the content license agreement. You also have the option to upload your own content, user content, such as videos, images, and files, which you have full control and responsibility over. You can use licensed content, your user content, and tools available in Canva to create your designs. The service is made available on Canva.com, Canva mobile apps, Canva desktop applications, and in other forms provided or made available by Canva. Your use of the service is subject to these terms and Canva's acceptable use policy. By using the service, you acknowledge and agree to Canva's privacy policy. If you are using Canva for education, please refer to the Canva for Education additional terms which are supplemental to these terms. You may use the service only if you can form a binding contract with Canva and are legally permitted to do so. By using the service, you represent and warrant that you have the full right, power, and authority to agree to and be bound by these terms, and to fully perform all of your obligations hereunder. B. Signing up with a managed email address. If you sign up for the service using an email address associated with your employer or another organization, admin entity, you represent and warrant that you have the authority to bind the admin entity to these terms. Roman 2. Your use of the service will bind your employer or the organization to these terms. And Roman 3. You and your in these terms will refer to both you and the admin entity. The Canva account you create using an email address associated with an admin entity will be an administered account. If you've signed up for the service using an administered account, at the admin entity's request, Canva may share your email address, name, and account information with your admin entity, and transfer control of the administered account to the admin entity. If your administered account is transferred, the admin entity's admin will be able to access, transfer, and control your administered account and all content and designs associated with it, as well as make changes to the administered account and billing settings and privacy preferences, make changes to the folder permissions, and delete the administered account. If your admin entity has requested control of your administered account, Canva will provide you with notice and the opportunity to transfer your content and designs to a personal Canva account, subject to you providing us with a valid email address before the administered account is transferred to your admin entity. Companies or organizations may choose to bring everyone that uses Canva with an email address they manage onto one centrally managed Canva account. C. Canva Teams. Our Canva Teams plan is intended for teams, businesses, and organizations of all sizes who want to work and design together. If you create a team on behalf of an organization or employer, you are binding them to these terms and all the obligations set out in them. If they haven't authorized you to do this, you'll need someone who is authorized to create the team. 2. Using the service A. Age requirement. Children may not access or use the service unless their use is directly authorized by their parent, guardian, or another authorized adult, such as a teacher who agrees to be bound by these terms. For purposes of these terms, a child is a person under the age of 13, or the minimum legal age required to provide consent for processing of personal data in the country where the child is located. For children using Canva for Education, please refer to the Canva for Education additional terms. There are legal restrictions on making certain services available to children. Our free Canva for Education plan for students is compliant with all the laws that apply to children using an online service. You can learn more about Canva for Education here. There are legal restrictions on making certain services available to children. Our free Canva for Education plan for students is compliant with all the laws that apply to children using an online service. You can learn more about Canva for Education here. B. Access to the service. Subject to your compliance with these terms, you are granted a non-exclusive, limited, non-transferable, freely revocable license to access and use the service for business or personal use. Canva reserves all rights not expressly granted under these terms. Each person must have a unique account, and you are responsible for any activity conducted on your account. You may not allow any other party to access or use the service with your unique username, password, or other security code. C. Acceptable use policy. Your use of the service, your user content, and your designs must comply with Canva's acceptable use policy. If you fail to comply with any provision of Canva's acceptable use policy, Canva may delete the violating user content and slash or designs or suspend or terminate your account with immediate effect. D. Anti-discrimination. Canva does not support and will not tolerate its service being used to discriminate against others, especially when based on race, religion, sex, sexual orientation, age, disability, ancestry, or national origin. You are not permitted to use the service in a manner which would or would likely incite, promote, or support such discrimination, and you must not use the service to incite or promote hostility or violence. We believe in being a force for good in the world, and that means we don't tolerate Canva being used in inappropriate ways. E. Restrictions on use of the service. You shall not yourself or through any third party, rent, lease, sell, distribute, offer in a service bureau, sublicense, or otherwise make available the service or the licensed content to any third party, except as permitted under these terms. Roman 2. Copy, replicate, decompile, reverse engineer, attempt to derive the source code of, modify, or create derivative works of the service or any part thereof. Roman 3. Access the service for purposes of performance benchmarking. Roman 4. Access the service for purposes of building or marketing a competitive product. V. Use the service to store or transmit a virus or malicious code. Roman 6. Use a virtual private network, VPN, to circumvent geographic-based pricing or content access. Roman 7. Use the service to transmit unsolicited emails or engage in spamming. Roman 8. Use any form of data mining, extraction, or scraping on the service and slash or the contents available therein for any purpose, including but not limited to AI, machine learning, and data science purposes. Or Roman 9. Bypass the measures we may use to prevent or restrict access to the service, including without limitation features that prevent or restrict use or copying of any content or enforce limitations on use of the service or the licensed content. We work hard to make Canva available to everyone, so we can't allow you to bring harm to Canva or the platform. 3. Security and data privacy. A. Information security. Canva implements and maintains physical, technical, and administrative security measures designed to protect your information from unauthorized access, destruction, use, modification, or disclosure. You can learn more about how Canva protects the service and your information at Canva's Trust Center. B. Data privacy. If you are a Canva Free or Canva Pro user, Canva's privacy policy applies to the personal data that Canva collects. Uses, transfers, discloses and stores about your accounts. Use of the service. User content and designs, except personal data that Canva Pro users collect through a Canva site or design, and which we process on their behalf. If you have a Canva Teams account, or if you are a Canva Pro user who collects personal data about others through a Canva site or design, then Canva collects, uses, transfers, discloses, and stores certain personal data on your behalf as a processor in connection with your use of the service. In those cases, our data processing addendum applies. Our data processing addendum sets out the specific personal data Canva collects and processing operations Canva performs on your behalf as a processor and is incorporated into these terms. In the event of any conflict between these terms and the data processing addendum, the data processing addendum shall prevail. Any categories or personal data or processing operations that are not set out in our data processing addendum will be processed and protected by Canva in accordance with Canva's privacy policy. If you have a Canva Teams account, or if you are a Canva Pro user, to the extent that you are collecting personal data about others through a Canva site or design, we act as a data processor, as per the terms of our data processing addendum. 4. Content and designs. A. User content. You represent and warrant that you own all rights, title, and interest in and to your user content, or that you have otherwise secured all necessary rights in your user content, as may be necessary to permit the access, use, and distribution thereof, as contemplated by these terms. As between you and Canva, you own all right, title, and interest in and to your user content. You grant Canva a royalty-free and sublicensable license to display, host, copy, store, and use your user content solely to the extent necessary to provide the service to you. To the extent you include user content in a design that you've shared with others, you grant Canva a perpetual, royalty-free, sublicensable license to display, host, copy, store, and use your user content to the extent necessary to continue to make that design available. When you upload content to Canva, you're guaranteeing that you have the rights to it. We never obtain any ownership over your content, but we do need you to give us certain rights to store it and have it ready for you to use in your designs. You agree that if you opt in to do so via the privacy settings within your account settings, Canva, its affiliates, and its third-party service providers that enable functionality within the service may use your user content to develop, improve, and provide the AI products and services, including through the use of machine learning technologies. We will not use user content of Canva for education for AI training. Learn more about how you can manage your settings here. When you upload content to Canva, you're guaranteeing that you have the rights to it. We never obtain any ownership over your content, but we do need you to give us certain rights to store it and have it ready for you to use in your designs. B. Licensed content. You may use licensed content in connection with the service. The use of licensed content is subject to additional license rights and restrictions set forth in the Content License Agreement. The applicable license rights and restrictions vary depending on the type and source of the licensed content. You can determine which content license terms apply by hovering over the item of licensed content and clicking on the info icon. We make a variety of content available for you to use in your designs. Certain restrictions apply to how you can use that content and what you can do with the designs you include that content in. The restrictions vary based on the type and source of the content. You can learn more here. Canva's licensing explained. C. Designs. Your designs may include a combination of user content and licensed content. While you retain ownership of your user content, any use of designs containing licensed content are subject to the applicable terms of the content license agreement. We never own your designs, but there may be certain restrictions depending on the types of Canva-provided content you've included in your designs. D. Sharing and publishing your designs. You may publish or share designs with others within the service via a third-party service or via a link. Canva maintains no responsibility in relation to such sharing of designs, and Canva's enablement of such activity or the service's performance of actions to publicly share designs at your instruction shall not be considered a violation of any of Canva's obligations under these terms. There are a number of ways to share your designs with the world. You're responsible for who you share them with and how you do it. E. Printing your designs. You can use the service to print your designs, only available in certain locations. Print orders are subject to additional fees and taxes, as specified when you place a print order. Print services are provided by third-party print partners who are responsible for completing, delivering, or otherwise making available print orders. You can choose to have your print order delivered to you or to pick it up at one of our partners' locations, subject to availability in your area. Print orders may be affected by circumstances outside of Canva's control. Delivery times are only estimates, which Canva cannot guarantee. If you have an issue with a print order, reach out to Canva support. Unfortunately, we're unable to provide refunds for errors made by you or if you just change your mind about a print order. You can bring your designs to life on everything from greeting cards and t-shirts to coffee mugs and journals. Printing is done through our print partners and can be delivered to you or picked up at a partner's location, where available. You can learn more here. Canva Print. 5. Using Canva to publish a website, you can use the service to design and publish a website, Canva site. Users of Canva's free offering may publish up to 5 Canva sites using a free my.canva site URL. If you are on a paid subscription, you can publish unlimited Canva sites using a free my.canva site URL. You can purchase an unlimited number of domains, and if you are on a paid subscription, connect up to 5 of your own existing domains. Canva for education and nonprofit subscribers can create unlimited Canva sites connect up to one existing domain. Each team is allotted one free subdomain on the my.canva site URL. A. Free URLs provided by Canva. If you use a free my.canva site URL provided by Canva, your website will include a tool to report Canva sites that do not comply with these terms and a badge that states, designed with Canva, or similar wording, that links to canva.com. Canva may, at its reasonable discretion, reject or remove any domain names that it deems inappropriate. For example, if the domain name does not comply with Canva's acceptable use policy. You can use a URL provided by Canva to publish your website. We want others to know they can design websites on Canva, so we let them know that you designed your website on Canva. Since our name will be in the URL and on the website, we put a few extra measures in place to make sure websites are appropriate. B. Purchasing a domain name through Canva. When you purchase, renew, or transfer a domain name through Canva, Canva Thai Limited acts as a reseller for domain name registration services through our third-party registrar, Tucows, Inc. Tucows. If you purchase a domain name through Canva, you agree to and are subject to the Tucows Master Registration Agreement, the Tucows Terms. A breach of the Tucows Terms is a breach of these terms. Your use of our domain services is subject to the policies of Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, https://icann.org, ICANN. You agree to comply with ICANN's requirements, standards, policies, procedures, and practices. Your rights and responsibilities as a domain name registrant under ICANN's 2009 Registrar Accreditation Agreement are summarized here. You can learn more about domain name registration in general here. You agree that by submitting an application or registering or renewing your domain name, you represent and warrant that all information provided to Canva or Tucows is true, complete and correct, and is not misleading in any way, and the application is made in good faith. And Roman 2, you have not previously submitted an application for the domain name and been rejected. You must provide Canva with such cooperation and support as Canva may reasonably request to provide the service as it relates to your Canva site, including by responding promptly to Canva's communications. Roman 2, providing accurate and prompt responses to our requests for any information or documentation reasonably required, including to meet ICANN's verification requirements. Roman 3, agreeing to your information being shared with ICANN and Tucows. And Roman 4, obtaining any and all necessary intellectual property rights clearances and / or other consents and authorizations in respect of your proposed domain name. Registration of a domain name does not create a proprietary right and shall not be construed as evidence of ownership. The registration can be subsequently challenged by third parties or canceled if any of the above warranties are found to be untrue, incomplete, incorrect, or misleading. You are responsible for renewing your domain name. Canva will not be liable for a domain name being unavailable or canceled for any reason. You must not present a misleading endorsement or affiliation with Canva on a Canva site, including, but not limited to, by attempting to register a domain name or subdomain name that includes the word Canva or any other Canva brand or trademark of Canva or its affiliates. Canva may include or require certain terms to be included on a Canva site at any time for any reason. You can purchase a domain from us via a third party or bring your own domain name. There are rules that apply to everyone's use of domain services and certain responsibilities you have in relation to your domain. C. Processing personal data on your Canva site. If you are a Canva Pro user collecting or processing personal data in connection with your Canva site, you confirm that you have read, understood, and agree to our data processing addendum in full, and that the data processing addendum shall be incorporated into these terms to the extent personal data subject to applicable privacy laws, as defined in the data processing addendum, is processed in your use of the service on your behalf in connection with your Canva site. In the event of any conflict between these terms and the data processing addendum, the data processing addendum shall prevail. If you're a Canva Pro subscriber, will be your data processor, under laws like the GDPR, only where you're using Canva to process personal data of others, such as creating a website that collects personal data. If you do that, you and Canva enter into Canva's data processing addendum, which ensures compliance with data privacy laws. 6. Use of AI products. You may use AI-powered apps such as Magic Studio trademark, including, but not limited to, Magic Media trademark, Magic Write trademark, Magic Edit, Magic Design trademark, Magic Switch trademark, Magic Grab trademark, Magic Morph trademark, Magic Expand trademark, Magic Eraser. Magic Animate Trademark. Background Remover and Translate, and other AI-powered functionality, Canva may make available on the service from time to time, collectively. AI products. Your use of AI products is subject to additional obligations and restrictions set forth in the AI product terms. 7. Use of Affinity software, where made available to you by Canva. You may download and use the Affinity software, as defined in the Affinity additional terms, by logging in to the Affinity software with your Canva account. Your use of the Affinity software is subject to these terms and the additional obligations and restrictions set out in the Affinity additional terms. Where you download and use the Affinity software pursuant to this section, the Affinity software forms part of the services under these terms, and the sections of these terms titled Printing Your Designs and Using Canva to Publish a Website do not apply to your use of the Affinity software. 8. Teams administration. You can create or join a team on Canva that allows you to collaborate with others. The creator of the team is the team owner. Each team may have one or more people identified as administrators each, an administrator, by the team owner or another administrator. Both the team owners and administrators can add, modify, or remove people from the team, as well as manage their permissions and access to user content and designs. Only the team owner may assign a new team owner. If you add a person to a team, you represent and warrant that you or your organization have obtained all necessary consents from that person to be added. If you enable account management services, which allow you to manage the teams and users using Canva at your organization, you represent and warrant that you are authorized to do so on behalf of your team and/or organization. If you are on Canva teams, the team owner or administrator may control access to, delete, or reassign ownership to the user content you upload and designs you create on the account you access as part of the team. Canva is not responsible for any actions taken by team owners or administrators. It is your responsibility to not upload user content or create designs on an account associated with a team if you do not want to potentially transfer ownership or disclose such user content or designs to others on the team. If you're on a team on Canva Teams, make sure you're aware of the privacy settings and only upload content and create designs you're comfortable with others on the team having access to and control over. Administrators can transfer designs between people on the team. Keep your personal content and designs to yourself by creating a personal account. 9. Billing. Canva offers a free and paid service. You can learn more about Canva's various subscription offerings here. Pricing may vary by location and will be based on the billing information you provide us at the time of purchase. If you are on a Canva Teams plan, the team owner will be billed for and is responsible for payment of subscription fees. A. Subscriptions and renewals. If you are subscribing to Canva Pro or Canva Teams, you can sign up for either a monthly or annual subscription. Your subscription will automatically renew on a monthly or annual basis, as applicable. You can cancel your subscription at any time. If you cancel your subscription, you will not receive a refund or credit for any amounts that have already been billed. B. Pricing for additional people on your team. If you are on a Canva Teams plan, you are billed according to Canva's pay-as-you-grow model. When you add people to a team, you will be billed for them on your next billing date, as defined below, unless they delete their account or are removed from your team by you or an administrator prior to the billing date. 3 days prior to the billing date, Canva will notify via email the billing contact associated with your Canva team account of the number of additional people and the associated subscription fees. The applicable billing date is as follows. If you are on a monthly subscription, the date of your next monthly renewal. Roman 2, if you are on an annual subscription, every 3 months after the start date of your subscription. Subscription fees for additional people on your team will be in accordance with the Canva team's pricing. You will not receive a refund or credit for removing people from your team that have already been paid for. The pay-as-you-grow model allows you to scale your team as needed and reconcile costs for anyone who has joined your team, but will no longer need access to the service before you are billed for them. C. Taxes. Your subscription fees are inclusive of all taxes unless otherwise specified in an agreement with Canva, within the service, or on an applicable invoice. Tax rates are calculated based on the billing information you provide and the applicable tax rate at the time of your subscription charge. D. Cancellation. You can stop using the service and or cancel your subscription at any time via your account settings. If you cancel your subscription, you will not be entitled to a refund of any fees already paid, and any outstanding fees will become immediately due and payable. E. Free trials and pilots. Canva may offer you a free trial or pilot to allow you to try our service. Canva reserves the right to set eligibility requirements and the duration for free trials and pilots. At the end of your free trial, Canva will charge the relevant subscription fee for the next billing cycle to your nominated payment method, unless you cancel your subscription prior to the end of the free trial. If you have access to a pilot, your access to the service will cease if you do not enter into a paid subscription prior to the end of the pilot period. F. Changes to pricing. Canva reserves the right to change its prices at any time. If you are on a subscription plan, changes to pricing will not apply until your next renewal or 30 days after notice, whichever is later. G. Billing communications. You agree that Canva may contact you at any time by email, push notifications, or other method with information relevant to your subscription, billing, and use of the service. 10. Canva's intellectual property, except as expressly set out in these terms. All intellectual property rights in and to the service and licensed content remain the sole property of Canva and its licensors. You assign to Canva any suggestions, ideas, enhancement requests, or other feedback you provide to Canva relating to the service or Canva's products. Canva owns all content, data, software, inventions, ideas, and other technology and intellectual property that it develops in connection with the service and its products. We get great ideas about how to improve Canva from our users. If you share feedback or ideas with us, you're letting us use that information to improve Canva, and we own any of those improvements we make. 11. Warranty disclaimer. The service is provided on an as-is and as-available basis, to the maximum extent permitted by applicable law, and subject to any non-excludable rights and remedies you may have under applicable law. Canva, its licensors, and its suppliers expressly disclaim any and all warranties of any kind, whether express or implied, including, but not limited to, warranties of merchantability, fitness for a particular purpose, or non-infringement. Canva does not warrant that your use of the service will be uninterrupted or error-free. Canva does not warrant that it will review your data for accuracy or that it will preserve or maintain your data without loss. You understand that use of the service necessarily involves transmission of your data over networks that Canva does not own, operate, or control, and that Canva is not responsible for any of your data lost, altered, intercepted, or stored across such networks. Canva will not be liable for delays, interruptions, service failures, or other problems inherent in use of the Internet and electronic communications or other systems outside Canva's reasonable control. We offer the service as is and can't be responsible for things outside of our control. 12. Third-party services. You may elect to use the service in conjunction with third-party websites, platforms, or apps, including, but not limited to, those available at canva.com/apps, third-party service, S. Your use of a third-party service is subject to the terms and conditions applicable to that third-party service. Canva makes no representations or warranties in relation to third-party services and expressly disclaims all liability arising from your use of third-party services. Within Canva, you can use apps created by third parties. Those apps might have their own set of terms that apply to you, and because the apps were created by third parties, we can't be responsible for them. 13. Your indemnity obligations you agree. To the extent permitted by law. To defend, indemnify, and hold harmless Canva and its affiliates, officers, directors, agents, licensors, and employees from and against any and all claims, costs, damages, losses, liabilities, and expenses, including reasonable attorney's fees and costs, resulting from or related to your violation of these terms, or Roman II, your user content. If Canva suffers harm due to your content or your violation of these terms, or if someone tries to hold Canva responsible for your content or your violations, you'll be responsible for any costs incurred by Canva and defending Canva. 14. Limitation of liability. In no event shall either parties aggregate cumulative liability, hereunder whether in contract, tort, negligence, strict liability in tort, or by statute or otherwise, exceed the greater of $100 USD or Roman II, the subscription fees paid by you to Canva during the 12-month period preceding the event or occurrence giving rise to such liability. The foregoing limitations shall not apply to liabilities arising out of your indemnification obligations or your breach of the section entitled Restrictions on Use of the Service. In no event shall either party be liable for any consequential, incidental, indirect, special, exemplary, or punitive damages, losses, or expenses, including but not limited to business interruption, lost business or lost profits, even if it has been advised of their possible existence and notwithstanding the failure of essential purpose of any remedy. The foregoing limitations shall not apply to liabilities arising out of your indemnification obligations or your breach of the section entitled Restrictions on Use of the Service. Canva is not responsible for, and assumes no liability for, the contents of user content. These terms do not affect consumer rights that cannot by law be waived or limited. These terms do not exclude or limit liability arising out of either party's gross negligence, fraud, or willful misconduct. 15. Term and termination. A. Term. These terms shall take effect the first time you access the service and shall continue in full force and effect until if you are a paid subscriber, the expiration or termination of your subscription, or Roman II, if you are using Canva's free offering when your account is deleted or terminated. B. Violations. If Canva, in its reasonable discretion, determines that you or your use of the service, your user content, or your designs violate these terms, including but not limited to Canva's acceptable use policy, the section entitled Restrictions on Use of the Service, or the section entitled Anti-Discrimination, any of which is considered a violation, Canva may take one or more of the following actions. I. Delete the prohibited user content or designs. Roman II. Suspend your access to the service. Roman III. Terminate and delete your account along with all designs and user content associated with that account. Roman IV. Permanently ban you from using the service. And /V. Disclose the prohibited user content or designs to appropriate government authorities. If you break the rules, we have the right to remove you and everything in your account from the service. C. Effect of termination. In the event of termination of your subscription for cause due to default by Canva, Canva shall refund, on a prorated basis, any prepaid fees for the service for the period beginning on the effective date of termination through the end of your then-current subscription. In the event of a termination of your subscription to a violation by you, you will not receive any refund and shall immediately pay any outstanding fees for the remaining period of your subscription. Upon any expiration or termination of your subscription, you must cease using the service. You will lose access to your designs, user content, and any other information uploaded to the service, and we may delete all such data unless legally prohibited, after expiration or termination of your subscription. User content included in any shared design will continue to be available within that design even after the expiration of your subscription. Unless your account was terminated due to a violation, you can download or export your user content and designs using the functionality of the service prior to the expiration or termination of your subscription. If your account has been terminated due to a violation, you may not create a new account on any Canva service unless you receive Canva's written permission. D. Survival of terms. Sections titled Term and Termination, Billing, Canva's Intellectual Property, Limitation of Liability, Indemnification, and Miscellaneous inclusive shall survive any expiration or termination of these terms. 16. Miscellaneous A. Compliance with applicable law. You agree to abide by all applicable local, state, national, and foreign laws, treaties, and regulations in connection with your use of the service. Canva agrees to abide by all applicable local, state, national, and foreign laws, treaties, and regulations in connection with its provision of the service. B. Governing law and venue. These terms will be governed by and construed in accordance with the laws of the State of California, USA, without regard to any conflict of laws provisions. C. Export restrictions. The service is subject to trade sanctions and laws and regulations that govern the import, export, and use of the service. These laws or regulations may prohibit Canva from providing you the service or require that we discontinue making it available to you without notice. By using the service, you agree to comply with all trade sanctions, export and import laws, and regulations, and warrant that, I, you are not prohibited from accessing the service. And Roman 2, you will not make available the service to anyone who is prohibited from accessing it under the laws or regulations of any jurisdiction. D. Dispute resolution. If you have a dispute arising out of these terms, contact us here first and we'll attempt to work with you to resolve the dispute. In the event that we're unable to resolve a dispute directly, you and Canva each agree to resolve any claim, dispute, or controversy, excluding any Canva claims for injunctive or other equitable relief, arising out of or in connection with these terms and / or the service, collectively. Claims by binding arbitration by the American Arbitration Association, AAA, under the Consumer Arbitration Rules then in effect for the AAA. Except as provided herein. The arbitration will be conducted through video conferencing or at an agreed location reasonably convenient to both parties. Each party will be responsible for paying any AAA filing, administrative, and arbitrator fees in accordance with AAA rules. The award rendered by the arbitrator may include costs of arbitration, reasonable attorney's fees, and reasonable costs for expert and other witnesses, and any judgment on the award rendered by the arbitrator may be entered in any court of competent jurisdiction. Nothing in this section shall prevent either party from seeking injunctive or other equitable relief from the courts as necessary to prevent the actual or threatened infringement, misappropriation, or violation of that party's data security, intellectual property rights, or other proprietary rights. All claims must be brought in the party's individual capacity, and not as a plaintiff or class member in any purported class or representative proceeding. Unless we agree otherwise, the arbitrator or a court may not consolidate more than one person's claims. You agree that, by entering into this agreement, you and Canva are each waiving the right to a trial by jury or to participate in a class action. You and Canva each agree that any claim filed with a court in the United States for any reason shall be filed in the United States District Court for the Northern District of California or the State Courts of California in the County of Santa Clara. A. Canva contracting entity. The Canva entity contracting with you under these terms and the address to which you should send legal notices depend on where your billing address. If your billing address is in the United States, the Canva entity entering into these terms is Canva US, Inc. Legal notices should be sent to 3212E. Cesar Chavez Street, Building 1, Suite 1300, Austin, TX 78702, United States of America. Atten. Legal if your billing address is in the UK. The Canva entity entering into these terms is Canva UK Operations Limited. Legal notices should be sent to 33 to 35 Hoxton Square, London N16NN, UK. Atten. Legal if your billing address is in any country except for the United States or the UK. The Canva entity entering into these terms is Canva Thai Limited. Legal notices should be sent to 110 Kipak Sint, Sarai Hills, NSW 2010, Australia. Atten. Legal F. Purchasing through a reseller. If you purchase the service through an authorized distributor or reseller, these terms apply to your use of the service unless you have entered into a separate agreement with Canva for such use. Billing will be managed by the reseller, therefore Section 9, billing, does not apply. Resellers are not authorized to make any representations or commitments on Canva's behalf, and, unless otherwise agreed via a mutually executed agreement between you and Canva, Canva is not bound to any obligations other than those set forth in these terms. G. Assignment. You may not assign these terms or any of your rights under these terms without Canva's consent, except to any successor by way of a merger, acquisition, or change of control. Canva may transfer or assign any of its rights and obligations under these terms, in whole or in part, at any time with or without notice. H. Headings and explanations. Headings used in these terms and the explanatory boxes are provided for convenience only and will not in any way affect the meaning or interpretation of the terms or any portion thereof. I. Severability. If a particular provision of these terms is found to be invalid or unenforceable, it shall not affect the other provisions, and the terms shall be construed in all respects, as if that invalid or unenforceable provision had been limited or omitted to the minimum extent necessary. J. Waiver. Canva's express waiver, or failure to enforce any provision of these terms, shall in no way be construed to be a present or future waiver of such provision, nor affect Canva's ability to enforce any provision thereafter. K. Notices. All required notices to you will be sent to the email address associated with your account or through other legally permissible means. L. DMCA. We respect the intellectual property rights of artists and content owners. We will respond to notices of alleged copyright infringement that comply with the Digital Millennium Copyright Act of 1998, DMCA. For more information, please read our intellectual property policy. M. Changes to these terms. We may modify these terms and any policies or agreements referenced in these terms at any time. We will post the most current version of these terms on canva.com. We will provide you with reasonable advance notice of any change to the terms that, in our sole determination, materially adversely affect your rights or your use of the service. We may provide you this notice via the service and slash, or by email to the email address associated with your account. By continuing to use the service after any revised terms become effective, you agree to be bound by the new terms. N. Changes to the service. Canva may add, change or remove features or functionality to the service, modify or introduce limitations to storage or other features, or discontinue the service altogether at any time. If you are on a paid subscription, and Canva discontinues the service you are using during your subscription, Canva will migrate or make available to you a substantially similar service provided by Canva, if available, and if it's unable to do so, Canva will provide you a pro-rata refund of fees prepaid for the remaining period of your subscription. Oh, entire agreement. These terms and the terms and policies referenced herein constitute the entire agreement between you and Canva with respect to the service. These terms supersede any prior representations, agreements, or understandings between you and Canva, whether written or oral, with respect to the service including previous versions of the terms. All terms, conditions, or provisions on a purchase order shall be of no force and effect notwithstanding any acceptance of such purchase order. The English version of these terms will control